Welcome back to another episode of the Quality Drive at Botswana Bureau of Standards. My name is 𝐒𝐿, Manager Standard Development at Botswana Bureau of Standards. And today we are going to be talking about a very exciting topic, looking at the time of the year where we are all now, geared up to go and showcase our products at the agricultural show. So I am with this gentleman who is very passionate about his job in standardization, especially in agriculture, and he's going to be taking us or maybe discussing together on this amazing topic. Can you introduce yourself?
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Masoke. My name is already Moje. I'm working as a standards officer here at Botswana Bureau of Standards. I'm particularly responsible for development of food and agriculture standards. Basically, these include cereals and pulses, horticulture standards, meat and meat products, and a few other subsectors which we look at under food and agriculture. Thank you.
Yes, and the other thing about Mr. Moje is also part of the African Standardization Organization, where he participates in some of the committees and also international ISO, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So he's really passionate about that area. So today we are going to be talking about the upcoming National Agricultural Show, which will be starting on the 18th of August to the 23rd. For those who are back home, farmers, food processors, manufacturers, I know this is the time that you are going to be showcasing your products. But we would like to engage with the community about the importance of standards in agriculture and how does it relate to the upcoming agricultural show. So, Mr. Moje, I know you also participated last year on this agricultural show. I hope you'll have a moment to share with us what were your experiences. But without that, wasting much time, can you explain Motswana 𝐾𝐜 about the role of standardization ensuring food security?
Okay, so just to maybe talk about my experience at the national or the previous National Agricultural Show, I had the opportunity to be part of the judges who were actually responsible for assessing the quality and safety of different agriculture commodities. These include horticulture produce, cereals and pulses, as well as I think primarily those were the main ones that we looked at. But obviously there are other categories like livestock, which were also judged. So our duty really was to look at those particular produce and assess them based on national quality and safety requirements. And there were many participants. We had a very large number of farmers who came through who had their products graded. And what I can say is that I think Botswana really, we are doing our best in terms of production because quite a number of the produce, they were actually conforming to the requirements as we were assessing and judging. So I think this really speaks of our determination in promoting food security in our country.
Okay, all right. So at that note, will you also maybe take us through the role of standards in the insurance of the food security?
Okay, so the role of standards really in terms of ensuring food security is that maybe we need to first of all understand what a standard is. A standard is basically a yardstick or tool that is used to monitor quality and safety of a product. So basically what we're saying is that we have a product such as tomato sauce, which is processed, and then we have a standard that we measure with, particularly measuring the quality and safety of that particular product. So the standard would have those quality and safety requirements. And I think also I'd like to just give a broader perspective on what food security is. food security in this sense, basically, it's ensuring that there's availability and accessibility and affordability of food in the country. So in order for us to really achieve that, which is food security, we need to be seen implementing standards, particularly the food and agriculture standards, where a lot of our farmers really are involved in trading different commodities. Right from the farm, we have 𝐴𝐵 standards that look at primarily the food safety aspect of our produce. Because I think central to everything, food safety comes first, and it's even a legal requirement in our country that we need to demonstrate that. So the standards also would then improve or promote trade facilitation, and when farmers want to do more exports or export their produce to other markets, they would then implement standards that are required to have complied with standards. And what I'd like to highlight is that standards also help us to manage our risks. And managing risks, really, in this case, we look at issues of contamination. Where do we identify the contaminants that are in our farm, and how do we manage and control them? So I think this really helps us to be sustainable in our practices, because it helps us to be proactive in identifying hazards that could potentially harm our produce well in time. So using these standards would really help us to really manage some of these risks. And then also standards, they promote local production. So when we have more local production, it will really ensure that we achieve food security. And we do this by basically encouraging farmers to grade their produce using the grading requirement standards, so that ultimately we protect public health.
Okay, thank you very much. I really like it when you work at the market access. We are at the point where we just saw the Bank of Botswana devaluing the pula. As much as most of Botswana, they were not happy about this action, but I believe this should be an exciting moment for those who are producers, farmers, because this will allow them to trade. It will facilitate trading with other countries, where now is also very important where standardization comes in, because you cannot be a player in the global market when your products are not meeting standards. So this is it's a a 2020 situation where you have to meet standard, and by meeting standard you showcase your products, because when you go to the agricultural shows is when now you also showcase. That's why you see other people coming from other countries to come and make deals and be able to trade. So at this moment I would like you to let's talk about how does standards help in the quality and the safety of food production.
Yes, ma'am. So standards, basically, they help in ensuring quality and safety of food products by implementation of standards, basically. I think that's the first thing we need to talk about. The moment we start implementing standards, that's basically where the starting point of ensuring the quality and safety of our products. So maybe I can give an example of a farm setting where basically we start off looking at testing of our final products, which is the produce. We need to ensure that we do proper sampling, which is done also in a hygienic manner in accordance to food hygiene standards. So that basically helps us to ensure that our handling practices are done accordingly to avoid contamination. So we then take our final product for testing and test it against the standard to check if it is complying. So this applies to whether you are implementing a compulsory or a voluntary standard. At the end of the day, we want to ensure that there's quality and safety which is achieved. And then also there is compulsory standards, which are really legal requirements, where standards are enforced by law to ensure that we comply. So here at the Bureau of Standards, we have a list of prescribed products that we ensure that their production and processing is safe and is of good quality. So I think really it goes out to the entrepreneur himself, or any business being a food business operator, they need to be able to think about standards. They should know the product quality and safety, every requirements that have to do with that. They need to be abreast with such.
Okay. Mr. Moje, I remember during the lockdown when the government took a decision to close borders for importation of especially agricultural produce. And I remember that was the time where we saw our market booming, and we started really seeing more, Botswana basimula balema. And I don't know, from last year's agricultural show, were there a lot of farmers who were displaying their products? And when you engaged with them, was there any indication that they are aware of use of standards?
Yes, ma'am. So our engagement last year with the farmers, it was quite interesting because a lot of farmers or business operators were really visiting our store to inquire about the available standards. So I think it shows that they are aware that, central to their production, quality and safety is very, very important. So I think the awareness is there because most of them were even asking or requesting about standards that probably you'd say are new products or products that are new in the market. And that also informed us to see Botswana actually heading to more value addition, especially on issues that on probably herbal products and so on, which I think quite a number of them were asking about availability of those standards. But I think in terms of awareness, Botswana are really aware, and I think the journey of making them more aware is still continuing. Yes, ma'am.
But those who took prizes, who won from last year, were they using standards?
I would say basically they were using standards because the result or the outcome of the produce really showed that even the practices they implement, it showed that indeed they followed standards, and that was quite encouraging. I think this year would be more excited to see more participation and compliance.
Okay. Motswana ko ga itse gore o kgona gore o botse or make comments that, and we will be able to respond. Remember, this is the quality drive given to you by Botswana Bureau of Standards every Thursday on Facebook and every Tuesdays on YouTube page, which is Botswana Bureau of Standards pages. So, Mr. Moje, this is now leading me to a question of the fairness. What does standards play in the fairness on food production or food practices?
Yes, ma'am. So I think in terms of fair trade, standards basically they level the playing field in terms of fair trade there. When we look at an instance of a requirement or an agreement between the retailer and the producer, it is important, I would say, from the point of retailers to encourage farmers to supply them with produce that is complying with the requirements of the standard. So in their contracts, whichever contracts that they draw between themselves, they need to be able to indicate or reference compliance to a standard that basically shows that there's commitment to quality and safety. So, and then also I would also talk about standards being used in procurement. So we realize that a lot of our government departments, we rely mostly on procuring different products from suppliers. So in order for us to really level the playing field, we encourage procuring entities to reference these standards in the ITTs, the invitation to tenders, to really try and promote fairness in trade.
Okay.
So in that case, we know that there won't be a preference to a certain brand over another. So basically, I think implementation of standards in that sense, it really helps us to promote fairness in trade.
Okay, yeah, because use of standards, I always find that especially looking at our market, it's a very small market, but if people get to use in implementing these standards in their production, it will still enable them to trading fair in other countries. So now let's talk about the standard support to climate resilience in agricultural practices.
Yes, ma'am. I think this one here really speaks to issues of climate change.
Yes.
Climate change, I personally think that we are the main causes of climate change from the activities that we do on a daily basis, probably burning matlakala or dirt or waste basically in ways that are not done accordingly. Those air emissions end up disrupting the ozone layer and therefore changing weather patterns and so on. So our activities really do have a large impact on that. Even our stocking densities at the cattle post, a lot of our farmers, we are seen to be overstocking our cattle post with cattle. And also yes, ma'am. So I think that on its own, we are actually degrading the land as well, and a lot of the waste from the cattle there are creating air emissions or emission of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which is very detrimental, of course, to the ozone layer and so on. And this basically has changes in our climate conditions. So coming to really where standards play a role in really trying to promote climate resilience is that standards actually promote sustainable practices in terms of combating climate change. We understand that in Botswana, we have unreliable rainfalls, which I think
something that we are not used to.
Something that we are not used to. So I think because of that, really, we need to come up with ways, or should I say standards help us to come up with ways of combating such conditions. For example, construction of the greenhouse, where we are then able to control conditions of production. And then also we look at issues of soil conservation. We need to be seen protecting the health of our soils, because also that also plays a pivotal role in actually maintaining the growth of our produce, and being able to provide the relevant or necessary nutrients for our crops. And then also we need to be applying supporting climate smart agriculture. So in this case, issues of energy efficiency, for example, the use of electricity, or even example, we know that in the past, engine, and in that case, diesel. We know what diesel is. So that really impacts the environment. So now, today we are seeing much better ways of actually using energy. There's now, the ability or advantage of tapping into our solar potential. So using solar energy, which really helps in terms of combating climate change. And then also issues of improving yields. So our standards also support crops which have been made to be resilient to these climatic conditions. just to be able to have more yields for farmers. So basically, I think in terms of standards providing those climate resilient techniques, it really helps to combat issues of climate change. Yes.
Motswana ko ga jaaka le utlwile gore use of standards will also actually maximize on your production. Gona ko gae ko masimo ko mme gape o ntse o sa senye tikologo, because tikologo re ne re e sengwa ke motho mme ke rona gape re ka ipaakanyetsang. Mr. Moje, let's talk about GAP, good agricultural practices. What is its significant to in ensuring food security?
Yes, ma'am. With good agricultural practices, it would really help us to promote food security, in the sense that good agricultural practice standards enable the farmer to implement practices that are sustainable to manage their farm operations. So we can look at GAP, let's say for example the horticulture space. Some of the GAP requirements is that we need to be seen doing soil analysis to check the soil composition of our soils, to also see if that soil is correct for that particular crop, and then see means of how to really improve the soil structure and so on. So, and then also we look at issues of traceability, in case maybe I've supplied a crop which is defective in some way. I should have means in place to ensure that traceability is done easily. For example, record keeping. I should have records in place to show that when did I do my fertilizer applications, which chemicals did I use, at which concentrations. So that information really provides a basis for root cause analysis. So if we are basically seen to be applying those, which are basically the requirements of GAP, we would then be able to promote sustainability. Because in that case, we know that we are able to even prevent certain issues before they arise. Yes, ma'am.
How many GAP standards do you have now?
So currently we have about 4 standards. We have GAP standard for horticulture. We also have a GAP standard for good beekeeping practice. We also have a standard for small stock, like you said, sheep and goats, and then a GAP standard for cereals and pulses. And we have 2 more actually, which are yet to be gazetted, which we developed. That is GAP for beef production, and also GAP for poultry production. So I think with those gaps, really, farmers are more learned on those who would be able to really ensure sustainability and promote food security.
You know, Mr. Moje, every time when you talk about GAP, good agricultural practices standards, I see opportunities. I just hope as we talk about the standards, remember that this is also an opportunity for you to start a business. Look at beekeeping. You know, beekeeping is one of the commodities that you can just produce without investing a lot of money. So make sure that you get in touch with Botswana Bureau of Standards, and Mr. Moje will definitely take you through on standards which are relevant in your business. Mr. Moje, what are the challenges or maybe the limitations that you've been experiencing as we implement this GAP standards?
I think the challenges are really low uptake of standards, particularly in regulatory framework. Yes, because I think our horticulture space, if I'm to talk about it, it really needs to be regulated. I mean, we've heard of very many stories which are surrounding poor handling of horticulture produce. So I think there's low uptake there. If our government could use the opportunity of referencing the Botswana standards and the regulations, and also put some legal requirements to horticulture.
Okay.
It would really assist in promoting food safety, because Tatahela horticulture produce, we consume it on a daily basis. Some of the horticulture produce, we consume it raw. And once that is not monitored, we may find ourselves consuming chemicals that we're not even aware of. So I think really public health and food safety should really be prioritized in this country. Thank you.
Motswana ko gae gantsi ga go bua ka di-regulations re tlhele re akanya gore maybe the government is not supportive, or maybe we do not want to you to run your business to make some profits. But regulations are very important. They will help you. Your product should always come out being of good quality, and it will also help you to penetrate other markets, because these regulations are referencing the Botswana standards. But with that, Mr. Moje, tell me, how can the government, you talked about the government implementing by maybe adding this reference to the standards in the regulation, but how about the NGOs or maybe private companies? How can they assist in promoting some of this gap or maybe standards to especially farmers and the community at large?
Yes, ma'am. So I think the private sector, their role really would be to implement the standards in the sense that they mainly buy supplies from farmers. So the implementation part would be to ensure that in their contracts, farming contracts, they reference compliance to standards in those particular requirements. That would basically assist in ensuring that they also promote the implementation of the standard. So I think if the private sector can do that, it can really assist. And then in terms of the NGOs as well, they need to be seen implementing some of our standards that speak to, for example, quality management system, efficient ways of providing services. They can also implement such in their processes and indicate that we need to be seen complying to those. Thank you.
Okay. Motswana ko gae pele re tla ko bokhutlong ka yone nako ena ke le gakolla gore this is the quality drive, and be free to comment and also send questions. If there's any particular area of standard that you would like us to cover or you want to inquire, don't hesitate to write a comment or inbox us, or you can also visit us at the Botswana Bureau of Standards website, which is www.bobstandard.bw. In that case, you will be able to get in touch with you. But Mr. Moje, before we end, what is it that you would like? What is your last words? Word of the day to Motswana ko gae.
Okay. My last words really is to encourage farmers to implement good agricultural practices and ensure that in doing so, they do more consultations. We would like to see a situation where our farms are actually implementing principles such as HACCP, which is Hazard Analysis Critical Control Points. We encourage also farmers to come up with food safety plans in their farms. So in having those kind of plans and manuals, it really, I think, gives them a competitive edge in terms of being able to export, because then in that case they would be following standards which ensure that the produce is safe. But I think if farmers can really utilize those opportunities to have food safety plans in their facilities, their produce wouldn't go to waste.
Okay. Okay. So how do they get hold of you?
Yes, ma'am. We can be reached through email. My email is moje@bobstandards.bw, and my direct line is 364-5521. Thank you.
Re tlile ko bokhutlong ba product our program, the quality drive. Remember, we bring this quality somebody to drive to you every Thursday on Facebook and Tuesdays on our YouTube channel. Make sure that you follow us and share this video to help Motswana Monko. But remember, we are here to serve you. So be free to contact anytime. From me and the team at the Botswana Bureau of Standards, thank you till the next episode. Have a beautiful day.